bigger than what people think. I'm not just some DJing online with a YouTube channel trying to get people to buy 100x meme coins. You know what I mean? I also have a message behind it. It's so much more to it. It's so much more that we have to unveil. There's so many layers to be peeled back, and I just hope people do their homework and their due diligence and not just, gamble on it. Exactly.
Why don't we get to the topic at hand? You're obviously big in the crypto space, do some stuff in the stock market. Been watching one rental at a time for a while. Sounds like you're getting to the point where you want to move or reallocate some profits to real estate. So why don't you set that up for us, and we'll kind of dig into that.
So my main thing is, crypto is so volatile, and now even the stock market has become, sort of like the mini wild wild west. So what I'm trying to bank on right now is to start to take some profits and move them over to something that's going to hold my wealth a little bit better than these fluctuations that I'm getting. I'm pretty used to the fluctuations, the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows, but I'm getting a little bit older now. It's time to start thinking about generational wealth, and what better way to build that generational wealth than through real estate.
No, I think that's absolutely right. When you look at real estate, when you look at, or at least how I look at real estate, it really is an income stream, if you want, for the rest of your life. And when I buy something, my intention is to hold it forever, right? I'm not in this, flipping or wholesaling or controlling paper or whatever. Is like, hey, let me just keep stacking assets, and then eventually the assets pay for my life, and things get really, really good. Sure, certainly not as exciting as crypto, I can only imagine. But yeah, it's certainly a comfortable way to live. I'll give you that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, crypto is not comfortable at all. It's not comfortable at all. It's an everyday roller coaster, as you see what's going on now. So we're just looking for different ways to build out the portfolio and not just have it so heavy in one sector.
I like that. Well, let's talk about real estate. Real estate is a huge bucket. Do you have your eyes on a particular asset class, a particular area of the country, or shoot, the area of the world, right? You're a world traveler, clearly. Have you ever given any thought to any of those variables?
Well, yeah, definitely a couple of those. Number one, I do have some prime real estate land downtown Detroit. It's like they call it Corktown. This is where one of the areas that I want to build. I don't know if I want to live there because I want to maybe start renting out, once I do build it. I'm not privy on any of the, new first time home buyers or this or that or home builders. I know they have their own, ways of doing things, but I definitely want to do that. We do have some already some allocation to the real estate market, but I definitely want to keep building on there. And then when it comes to emerging markets, Malaysia is going to, like, the next 10 years, from what I've seen, Malaysia is going to be like, right now it's like a baby Dubai to me. Skyscrapers and all this. Not really built up like that yet over in Kuala Lumpur, but I can definitely see the potential coming. So that's definitely one of the areas that I've been looking at as well.
All right. Well, let's start with Detroit and kind of new builds, and we'll go over to international in a minute, because all of this is exciting stuff. So I don't know Corktown and all. Are we talking how much land are we talking about? What do you own roughly?
So it's maybe a little under an acre. Corktown is one of the places where it's like the oldest neighborhood in Detroit. It's like right behind like a casino, Motor City Casino. We have a bunch of casinos down there. They're building downtown up very well. So this is like prime real estate. So we got it from my wife's mother. My wife's mother's mother gave it to her, and she gave it to us. So we basically got it for free. Yeah. So everything, all the real estate I have right now is pretty much free. So that's one of so I'm kind of already ahead of the game when it comes to that, but I definitely want to expound upon that. But when it comes to Detroit is doing a lot of good things right now. Probably after this year going into 2025, I'll probably jump on that train a little bit.
I like it. A couple more questions about the lot. Again, don't know it. Have you done any research? I mean, are these is it just a single family lot where you're going to go build a, I don't know, a 3,000 square foot house? Could you put on multifamily like a fourplex? Could you maybe go bigger, given it's by a casino, and maybe go, 4 or 5 stories? What do you know anything?
So how they do it in Detroit is, if you own land in one area, it's vacant lots. It's 2 more vacant lots on the side of it. So you get first dibs or
Mm.
something. I don't know like the correct terminology on it. So what I'm trying to do is buy the next door neighboring lots
Mm.
and then see if I could build one big unit, if that would suffice, or we'll just have to build because it's a more vertical than horizontal, if you can picture that. So I would have
Yeah,
to
of
build
course.
up
Yep.
as opposed to out. So I can definitely see we do a lot of duplexes in Detroit, a lot of multifamily homes, like two. Usually it's like
Mm.
two. So that's definitely something I would look at. And even if it's just if I don't need that much space traveling. I'm not staying in one area for the whole. I'm not going on vacations anymore. I'm just traveling. So I'll stay in Michigan or wherever I stay at for maybe 3-4 months, and then I'll go do what I'm doing now. But I definitely want to, even if I live downstairs or somebody else lived upstairs or something like that. I don't even know how that would work. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm that's why I'm talking to you right now. I'm trying to just talk to a lot of real estate guys, and I don't want to go into the talk to the people who the doomer gloomers who telling me what
Yeah.
not to do and wait until 2038 and doing all this. I don't have, I want to talk to some people.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
talk to some people who still actually doing it and really thriving at it.
Yeah, so I think you're onto it. It's funny you mentioned Greg Dickerson and Brian Adamson. Brian Adamson, clearly the big, one of the big dogs in Detroit. I definitely keep picking his brain, and Greg Dickerson obviously is the builder. I think you probably so first off, I think you're right. First right of refusal from the two lots on the side. I think getting those and entitling them to make that one big lot probably gives you
Mm-hmm.
more flexibility, probably allows you to go up. I'd be shocked if that's not something bigger than a duplex, or maybe it'll give you, three duplexes in a row. So I think you have some
Mm-hmm.
research to do on entitlement, and then I think what they'll call zoning. Um, but yeah, it sounds like you have some possibilities. And again, if you live in the top unit, somebody lives in the bottom, that's I'll call that house hacking because that's what that is. Which is actually a pretty good idea. One of the other guys on my channel, Dion, he lives in a duplex and he travels, I don't know, 6 months out of the year, 3, 4 months out of the year. And it's a good idea. That way the house is never vacant. I think I think that de-risks the situation in a big way. So I like all of that. Let's switch gears to I think you said Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I was in Malaysia, I guess January of last year. We did a month over in Southeast Asia, and Kuala Lumpur has you know, it is definitely going vertical. It's definitely one of those up and coming areas, I think. But I have no idea about lending. I think that would be the first thing I would check into, right? Do you have to be a citizen? Do you have to, it's the like when I looked at Bali, for example, Bali, you don't own the land, right? There's a land lease, a 99-year land lease or 75 or
Right.
whatever it is. So there's a lot of rules you have to figure out when you're going to a foreign country. Those are my first thoughts.
It is, yeah. So I actually talked to a developer because they're like you said they're building up, and he was saying something about owning the land for a certain amount of time, a certain period of time. It was a long
Yeah.
time, but it was still a certain amount of time, and it was definitely a lot of rules that I said I didn't comprehend at the moment. Because right now it was like, and once I dive into something, I go all in. So
Mm.
with my brain being preoccupied with Bitcoin and stuff right now, it's kind of hard to go
Mm.
and do a super deep dive into the real estate space. But I'm taking it
Yeah.
bit by bit as much as I
Yeah.
can, and then once I'm ready to make that jump, I'm gonna make the jump, and I'm gonna make it the right way.
Yeah, so again, I can't talk about Kuala Lumpur, don't know anything about it, but I can talk about Bali. So Bali obviously has been on the list of best expats or whatever they call them for a long
Yeah.
time, right? Where you can go, you have great internet, you got all these great things. A buddy of mine went out there, stayed in the Airbnb. It's like, hey, let's do something, right? Let's build one of these things. And we started poking at it. We probably spent, I don't know, 30 days or so kind of going in, having phone calls because there's builders out there that focus on expats and all of that. And the big thing for me was they called it a land lease, right? You're basically carving out a piece of land from a rice farmer, right? That was a big thing in Bali. They have all these rice farms, and you were getting, usually getting I don't know, an acre or something of that, and you don't own the land, right? You do have a 99
Mm.
year lease or a 50-year lease or something, but as somebody from the United States, I really don't like the land lease idea. You can put in the contract renewals and things like that. A buddy of mine in my school community, Robert, his wife's from Bali, so he was actually able to buy something because you have to be
Yeah.
from Bali to own something. Also, the interest rates, the variable versus fixed. There's a lot of things. Again, as an outsider, um, makes it difficult to develop. Now, if you're going to live there, if you're going to spend, I don't know, if I was going to spend 6 months of a year there for the next decade, in my opinion, it's probably worth diving into. But if it's going to be one of the 12 spots you hit every year, I think it's far better to just rent, enjoy it, and move on, and
Right.
then stack asset. Because if you're going to be a world traveler, which is awesome, you get to teach your kids so many things. You have to de-risk the assets. And again, with no deep expertise, Detroit, the United States, far more solid, 30-year financing, the rule of law, no land
Right.
leases, far better than taking a flyer on, a foreign country, I think, in this example.
Right, definitely, definitely. And I was talking to a bunch of people out here who own businesses out in Thailand.
Mhm.
So a lot of them, they get girlfriends, and then they put them in their name
Mhm.
because they can't be majority owners, and then they'll put them in their name, and then they'll
Sure.
just have them as the front of the business, but really they
Yeah.
own it. But I can't do that. I'm a married man
Not
right
my
now, so
yeah, not my
what?
thing. I'm
So I
not
gotta I
going
gotta
there.
find a more yeah I gotta find a more legitimate way to exercise my options.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think I would definitely, again, if you're to the point where you're enjoying life, you're producing income in crypto, I would de-risk real estate. And to me, that is United States 30-year money, whether it's building new construction and house hacking or whatever. I think, for example, I think going Detroit's like Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum in your world, and going Kuala Lumpur's, one of these bullshit altcoins that gets rug pulled on people. I mean, I think, when I look at
Yeah.
the situation, that's my vocabulary for your world,
Yeah,
and
yeah, definitely.
that's how I see it.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a one of those things where you gotta take the knowledge that you have in one area and try to correlate it to the next area. But real estate, crypto is the wild wild west. We're just gonna get it out the way. Crypto is the wild wild west. There's no rules. Anybody can come in, do it. It's a lot of 96% of it is basically gambling. I understand that. But real estate, you can't just come in and do these things. You have to know codes, you have to know laws, you have to know rules and regulations. So that's just
Yeah,
it's a whole different animal. So I definitely want to. That's why I'm picking the guys' brains that I think
yeah,
are the top of the sector, and going from there. I'm
yeah,
thinking 2025 is when I'm really going to pull the trigger.
yeah. I think I really would, because I think of new development, Kuala Lumpur, those are all out on the risk scale. I think you already got plenty of that. I would
Oh yeah.
just knuckle down, buy one long term hold, and let's see how it rolls. And again, it's just the
Mhm.
fastest way to get in the game. It's the least risky way to get in the game. It could allow you to move profit the fastest into an asset. Um, so just talking through this in real time, I think that's the first step I would do. Is in my world, that means go get a buy box, look at it, figure out average, go buy great deals. The other thing you should do is probably get in a community with people that are already doing it, just to see the vocabulary, ask questions, network. My school community, you've seen me talk about, it's probably a,
Mhm.
inexpensive place to go for $20. I think that gives you a lot of value. Almost 200 people doing this game that we're talking about. I think I'd go there. It's a low barrier to entry. Um, yeah, those are some first thoughts. But
I try to tell people, like, real estate, stock market, it's all going to keep going up because over time the dollar is just going to lose value. It's going to lose purchasing power. So
yep,
the rich, the wealthy, and the financially educated are in these assets. They hold their wealth in these assets, and that's just the way to go. It's bigger than what people think. I'm not just some DJing online with a
mm,
YouTube channel trying to get people to buy 100x meme coins. You know what I mean? I also
yeah,
have a message behind it. It's so much more to it. It's so much more that we have to unveil. There's so many layers to be peeled back, and I just hope people
yeah,
do their homework and their due diligence, and not just
gamble.
gamble on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly, because it's so hard to grasp. Like
Yeah.
crypto is hard to grasp already. And then when you bring on the what's happening in the world and the debt and 35 trillion debt and how the interest rates do this and quantitative easing, quantitative, it just goes over people's heads. I've
Yeah.
turned into a crypto degen, into a hood economist. You know what I mean?
Ah,
Because you
I
gotta
like
have
it.
you gotta have a balance now because
Yeah.
we're kind of in central planning. Like whatever the Fed is doing, whatever the Fed is saying is gonna move rates, is gonna move prices, gonna move markets. So you just gotta be in tune to the
Yeah.
markets, be in tune to the economy, and do your homework.
Yeah, at the end of the day, getting wealthy has never changed in hundreds and hundreds of years. That is, you got to create disposable income, discretionary income. You've got to buy assets. You got to hold assets for a decade. If you do that, your chances of becoming wealthy are pretty good. If you don't, if you live for the day, you FOMO, you gamble, you're going to get what you get, right? There's a reason that lots of people live paycheck to paycheck because they're not willing to sacrifice, at least in the short term, to have these long term things. So it's pretty interesting.
Definitely, sacrifice is the number one thing, and I sacrificed time. Like it took, like when I first got into investing, I was doing 12 to 14 hours a day for like 2 years.
Wow.
So I had to sacrifice time. Yeah, every day. My wife was so tired of me walking around the house talking about it. She said, "Just start a YouTube channel, please. Stop talking to me." So I started a
Stop talking
YouTube
to me.
channel. Yeah. So now she's walking around talking about fiat debasement and Bitcoin and quantitative easing and stuff like that. So I guess I rubbed off on her a little bit,
That's
but
awesome. That's awesome.
it's just definitely is a good thing.
There you go. Well, one final question is somebody who's been all over the world. What is your favorite city? And then maybe what is the family's favorite city? Because maybe they're different.
Well, I like it's a place called Kata in Thailand. Kata, Thailand. I'm not sure if it's like a town or I don't know what it is, but it's Kata, but it's basically on Phuket Island. So
Okay.
Thailand is amazing, man. Thailand is, the weather. It's winter right now and it's like 85 and it's just
Yeah.
rainy. I wake up, walk on the beach every day, get a
Nice.
coconut and get to work.
There you go. There you go. So that's your favorite. Is that the same for the family or might they like something else?
I think they like Thailand too. They like the
Okay.
food. The food is amazing too. It's an amazing
There
place.
you go. There you go. Well, FD, thank you very much for being here. Keep doing what you're doing. Congrats on 1,000. Later.
Peace.